Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the last video we have seen forward propagation. In that we have seen the weights, neurons, input layer, output layer, hidden layers, feature extractions, or you can say feature manipulations, right? Then we have seen bias, we have seen weights, importance of features, and while we are doing the forward progression there was weight over there, right? So I said at that time that is a magical number that we can get it from the training. So today in this video we will see how to find out the correct value of that weight, and that value will come from data. So let's see how that magic happen in detail. So let's go ahead. So before jumping into the training part, we have to gone through some very little bit mathematics, and that is the derivatives. So we already see there is a impact, or you can say usefulness of mathematics in the machine learning or deep learning. So let's see what derivatives comes. So suppose we have a function that is f of x, and that function is depend upon the x value. So now if you take the derivative of f of x, you will get this value. Now if you understand this in terms of numbers, so if your x value is 2, your derivative is 6. Now if your value of x is increased by 0.1, then how much impact it will give to the function of x, that will come from the, or you can say the change in this function will derived from the derivative, and that is known as the slope. So this derivative actually find out the slope, that slope is positive or negative. So if your number is increased while your input number is increasing, if your function value is also increasing, means your slope is positive. And while your input value is increasing but your number is decreasing, or you can say function value is decreasing, it means your input value, or you can say slope, is negative. So this derivative is defined the slope. So now let's understand how we can utilize this derivative concept to learn those weights, those magical numbers. So before jumping into that, there is one very important thing that we need to understand: how we can say how much we have to update the weights, or how what will be the correct quantity to update the weights. So in order to get that correct quantity, first we need to identify how much we are differing from the original number, right? So that differing from the original value, that is known as the loss, right? So first thing we need to understand what is loss here, right? So you can say this red line is our prediction line, and this blue dots is our original values. So now if you see this, how much we are differing, this much, right? Now if you say in this blue line how much we are differing, we are differing this much. Now if you look into this blue line, we are differing from this much. So how we'll find out which line is correct? Suppose one person is drawn this line, second person drawn something like this, third person drawn this line. So you should have some way to find out which line is the best line. So in order to get that value, we are computing loss. How we'll compute the loss? We are computing with the help of mean squared error. So whenever we are dealing with the linear regression, means you have a number and you want to find out how much your prediction is differing from that number, then you are using mean squared error. So the formula for mean squared error is 1 upon m, where m is number of input sample, right? Y cap I is the predicted value. So this is your predicted value. And what is y? This is the ground truth, or you can say original value, right? So with the help of this formulation, we are able to compute the mean squared error. Now how will compute? You will compute this difference and square it. So you can say if your difference is, this is d1, this is d2, this is d3, and so on. So you will say d1 square plus d2 square plus d3 square plus dash 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 plus dn square, and divide by n if you have n input points, or you can say dm square and divide by m. So this is known as total loss. Got it? So this is giving you information that your prediction is differing from how, or you can say how much differ from the original value. So this is for the linear regression. So now you can say why we are putting y cap minus y square. So if we look into this, let's find out. So suppose your original value is this and this, and now you are tried to make a linear line. This is your prediction line. So what square is doing, the values which are far from the predicted value, or if your line is far from the original value, then this difference will be squared. Means if a particular value which is far from the predicted line, that will have more impact than the point which is closer to the predicted line, right? So this has some good idea as well, and sometimes this has the bad idea as well. Now you can say why it is bad idea. So let me assume one more data point here. Let's say my data point is somewhere here, one data point, and this you can say this is your outlier. Now due to this outlier, and suppose let me extend this line further, and due to this outlier, your value or squared value will become very high. So means this one single data point, that is your outlier, is impacting this prediction maximum, and this is the problem of squaring as well, right? Benefit, it will, if you do not have this outlier, then this is the beneficial point, but if you have outlier, you need to take care separately. So means you have to think about outliers before applying squaring in the error. So this is how you can deal with the linear values. Now suppose you have logistic regression. Means you have values either 1 or 0. In that case, you are using this log loss. So now let's understand how this log loss help us to find out the correct value. So let's assume if you have y value is 1. So original value is 1. So then your predicted value should also need to maximize, right? Now what we want, as this minus sign is added here, means you want to minimize this term. So if you want to minimize the overall, so because this minus sign, if you want to minimize the overall, then what you have to do? You have to maximize this term, right? Now if you take it part by part, then what you want, your loss function in case of y equal to 1, so then this part, you can say this part will become 0, because 1 minus 1 will become 0. So what remains with us? 1 into log of y cap. Now we have minus sign here. So it means if your value is 1, this entire part we want to minimize. So if you want to minimize the complete value, you have to maximize this part of value. And when this log of y cap will be the maximum, when your y cap is the maximum. It means once y cap is close to 1, you will get the largest value. So your algorithm or your loss function try to maximize it. Now let's look into another example when y equal to 0. So once we have y equal to 0, in that case this part will be gone because it will multiply by 0. So you have 1 minus y log of 1 minus y cap. Now 1 minus y, 1 minus 0, it will remain 1. So what we'll have, we have log of 1 minus y cap. So when this part will be the maximum, when your y cap will be the minimum value. And what minimum value we are looking for? That is the 0. So once your y cap is 0, this will be the maximum. So that total will be the minimum value. So at the end, we have made a minimization problem, right? That we want to reduce your loss. So this gives us opportunity to make this function as a convex function so that we can easily minimize this. So now with this we got two major things. One, you have linear regression, you can use MSE, right? Once you have logistic regression or you have a classification problem, you are using the log loss function. Getting? So now we got the idea of loss. Now let's see how we can utilize this loss function to find out the magical number W, right? So before jumping into that, we look into the cost function. So what cost function is? Loss is looking for one input sample, but we are not going to optimize our method for one input sample. We want to optimize our method for entire data set so that overall or in general our entire algorithm, or you can say our algorithm, will take care the entire data. So means what we need to do, we have to average loss across all the inputs. So suppose you have m inputs, so what we need to do, we need to find out loss with respect to each input sample and then average it out. We already seen this in linear regression. We had average out with respect to all the values, right? So that will give you the cost function. So this is known as the cost function. So in short, we can say when we are trying to find out a loss, means we are talking about one input sample. When we are saying cost, means we are talking about all the input samples available with us. So ultimately the goal is to optimize the cost value, or you can say minimize the cost value, so that you will get the best solution. So I hope it is clear till now. We are going to optimize, or you can say minimize, J of WB, right? What is WB? W is that magical number. W and B are the magical number that we need to optimize. So let's understand how to optimize it. So in order to optimize, we have very well known algorithm, that is the gradient descent. And just to understand, I am taking one dimensional graph. Now let's understand this part. Ultimately, if you want to minimize, so this graph is for the cost function. So this graph is for the cost function. Now what we want? We want a value of W so that your cost will be minimum. So this is your convergence point, or you can say final value that we are looking for. Now directly we cannot jump into this final value. So what we have to do? We have to start from some point. So let's say we started from this point, right? In this point, if you try to make the slope, you will get this slope. Now suppose by chance you started from this point, so then your slope will be this. Now let's see what this slope is doing. So as you are in the top, your slope is higher. As you move forward towards the convergence points, your slope will be lesser and lesser, and at the end, while you reach to the convergence point, your slope will become 0. Once we are saying our slope will become 0, it means you are saying djw divided by dw, or you can say differentiation of cost function with respect to w value, will become 0 in the convergence point and will be higher as you are far from the convergence point. So now let's look into this and we'll utilize this dj upon dw. Similarly, if you say I'm talking about multi-dimensional, then it will look like a ball. So you will say your cost function is somewhere here and you want to reach into this global minimum. Right. So once you have multiple W's, W1, W2, W3, W4, then it will not be a two-dimensional graph. It will be multi-dimensional graph. But ultimately we have to find out a combination of W's so that your J of WB will become minimum. Ready? So let's see how to find out that value. So in order to find that weight value, we have this formulation. So we have this magical formulation. W equal to W minus dj dw upon dw. Right? Now you can say how exactly this works. Right? Or you can say partial derivative of wj or j of wb with respect to w. So let's see how exactly it will work. Right? So in order to understand this, let me go back and draw a graph for you. Right? So we have to reach somewhere here. Suppose we have this point. Now, once you are in this point, if you look into the dj to comma b divided by dw, this will be positive or negative? Yes, this will be, yes, this will be a positive value. Ready? Now, if you are somewhere here, then this dj wb w comma b on dw will be the negative value. Right? Now let's see what is the formulation. Our formulation is saying w new is equal to w old, and this is w line, w old minus alpha of dj comma b upon dw. Now if you are somewhere here, so what we are expecting, we want your w value should be reduced down. Let's see is this formulation is also trying to do the same. So now this is saying this is your positive value. Alpha is always positive between 0 to 1. So means once you multiply this, you will get a positive number. And as we have a minus sign, it will try to reduce down the value of W old, and that will become the new W. So means ultimately if you are somewhere here, your gradient will try to reduce down the value. Now suppose we are somewhere in this point, right? What will happen? In this, if let me rewrite this formulation, minus alpha dj equal to v upon dw. Now in this case, this value is negative, this value is positive. Ultimately once it multiply, you will get a negative value from here, and you have negative sign here. So once negative will come, this will become a positive value. So ultimately this factor, entire factor will be the positive. What it will do, it will try to add some value into the W old to find out the W new. So that will force you to move towards this side. As we have seen previously, if your dj upon dw is positive, this will try to move into this side. So ultimately once you reach here, in that point your dj upon dw will be 0. In that case, what will happen? You will not get any change into the W value, and that is become your saturation point, or you can say convergence point. So this is the way, or you can say this is the magic behind the gradient descent or behind the training. Got it? So with this formulation, we are able to train our weights. Now one more important aspect, what is this alpha? Because we have seen the alpha into the formulation. So what is the purpose of alpha? Alpha, suppose your alpha value is high. In that case, it will take more gradient and try to add into the W. So means you will have higher jump. But you have to choose a good value of alpha, or you can say many algorithms are saying initially start with bigger alpha. As you move forward, you will reduce down the alpha value. But suppose you have chosen a fixed value of alpha. Now if alpha is too small, what will happen? Your step will be very slow, so it will take lot of time to reach here. But in other side, if your alpha value is too large, then what will happen? Suppose you start from here, you are overshooting, and instead of converging, you are diverging. So that's the role of alpha. So you have to choose alpha wisely. Theories are saying you can start with the bigger value of alpha, and as you move to the iterations, you can reduce down the alpha value. Let's take this with one example. So suppose you have two x values and one b value, bias value. Then you have two weights, w1 equal to 0.5, w2 equal to 0.5. You computed z value, then you applied activation function. Let's say it's a logistic regression, and you have applied a sigmoid activation function. Based on that, you computed the loss value. Now once you computed this loss value, so a is your predicted value and y is your original value. Based on this, you have computed the loss. Now this loss will back propagate and try to modify your w1 and w2 and w1, right? So how it will modify? It will use the differentiation by parts, or you can say chain rule, right? So how chain rule is working? Definitely, if you look into this cost function is function of a and y. Now if you look into the a is function of z. Now z is function of w1, w2 and b, right? So with that way, if you try to compute, so ultimately what you have to compute, dl upon dw1 to modify the w1 value. So you can say w1 equal to w1 minus alpha dl upon dw1. Now in order to compute dl upon dw1, what you will do, first you will compute dl upon dA, then you will compute dA upon dz. Getting? Now you will compute dz upon dw1. So with the chain rule, you are able to compute dl upon dw1, because L is function of A is function of Z, and Z is function of W1. So finally, you will get dl upon dw1, and with this value, you are going to modify W1 value. Similarly, you will go for the W2 value, and you are able to modify W1 and W2 value. Getting? So with that way, if you have even very high deeper neural network, then also you can apply the chain rule, and you are able to find out the correct value of w1, or you can say w's. Once you will get the correct value, ready, then your network is a trained network, right? Now you can say, what is this L of a and y? This is your cost function. So you will compute the cost with respect to all the inputs, and based on that cost you will backtrack, and this entire process is known as back propagation. Right? With the help of back propagation, you are able to modify W1 and W2 value. Right? Similarly, if you look into this two-layer network, how it will be look like? You have x1, x2, x3. What will be the z1? It will be w1 transpose x. Then b. What will be the a value? It will be, you can say, sigmoid of z1. Then what will be the z1 value? Then it's another layer. So you can say w1 2 This is the transpose A1. So this A1, A2, A3 will become input for the next layer. Similarly, you can have very high layer, or you can say multi-layer network. If you look into the representation, it will look like this. So this first matrix will look like 4 cross 1. Then W matrix will be 4 cross 3. Then alpha matrix, A matrix will be 3 cross 1. Similarly, you have all the matrices in your hand. So ultimately, what we got, this is W transpose X plus B, that will give the Z1. Then second, you will apply the activation function, that will give you the A1. Once you got A, then you move to the next layer. Then you have another set of W that is coming here, right? And based on that, you will find out W transpose A plus B1. That will give you the second layer. Similarly, you can move the multi-layer network. So here we have 2-layer network. Similarly, you can have 100-layer network or 200-layer network as well, right? So let's quickly go through forward and backward propagation again. In the forward propagation, we'll have inputs that will pass through the W values, and finally you will compute the output. Now in the backward propagation, you will take this output value, you will compute the error with the help of cost function, right? And based on this error, we will compute the derivatives and try to go back and update all the W's value. So forward, when you find out the value of output, and based on this value of output and the original value, you compute the loss, or you can say cost, and then based on that cost, you will go back, propagate, compute the differentiation, or you can say compute the gradient, and based on that gradient you will update this W1, W2 and so on, whatever W's are available. So with that, we have in the training we have forward, backward both, but while you are doing the testing or you are doing the inference, you have only the forward propagation. So what is in the deep neural network? Same, you have multi-layer network, and that is very deeper. So how exactly it will look like? This deep neural network will design in a way, or you can say trained in a way, and that training is automatic training, that this will look for the low level features. As you move forward into the layer, it will have medium level features, then high level features, and finally here you will get the output. So this is the way how your deeper neural network is working. So I hope you got an idea of training of the neural network. So it's my recommendation, if you are not able to understand in one go, please pause this video again at least once or two times more, so that you will get all the important aspects from this video, because this is most important video for the module 1, and this is core of the deep learning. So thank you guys, we'll catch you in the next video.